Hi, I'm Daz, and on the bench today is a Grundig Hitboy 310 from about 1977. This is an 11 transistor set with 3 wave bands, long, medium and VHF FM. Just looking round the set, this has a main socket, a modern one which is here, and an earphone, and you've got the wave change at the back. This, I presume, is the tuning. There's some little things you can put there to remind you where the stations are. Handle, telescopic aerial, volume control and on off appears to be up here, and there's a little message, thanks Daz. So I found that at work when I got to work this week, first week back. Still in lockdown, but it's my first week back at work, so I'm not actually sure what's wrong with it, so let's have a look. Well, that didn't take long to get in. There's a couple of catches here. The screw was already missing. So what have we got? Well, here's the mains transformer and its power connector. The switch appears to be soldered to the board. Headphone socket and volume. Audio section, not heat synced, but generally at this stage they didn't. 4 ohm speaker, so reasonably loud. 6 volt supply. This is unusual. It has a separate medium wave and long wave tuning coil, which is unusual. I don't think I've ever seen that before. Here's the FM section, all fixed in wax so it doesn't vibrate around and give you microphony, I guess. Got dual IF sections, so one transistor serves both 10.7 and the 460, I believe that is. I probably got that wrong, but I will check. A few electrolytics scattered around. Guess that's the AM detector. I don't know where the FM one is. Oh, probably there. 2 diodes I can see there back to back. I have some information on it. I guess that's the aerial. Yes, it's marked on the board. The cord goes round here, round here, round here. I'm not sure what will happen when I try and take it apart further, but I don't actually know what's wrong with it, so I think the first thing is let's stick some juice in it and see if it goes bang. There's a little current surge and it's drawn about 10 milliamps. I don't hear anything. No response at all. I think that might be the audio stage transistor. Just giving it a poke on the base. No, don't hear anything. Okay, first things first. Is the speaker working? Is the jack socket working? Aha! So I've got an external speaker plugged in. Right, let's pull this out and see if the internal one works now. No, it still doesn't. So it might be that the speaker is open circuit. Okay. Well, we know we've got amplifier now. See if tuning it does anything. Not hearing anything at all. Nope, nothing. So I guess we've got a few faults to find. Well, that's a nice design. There's a little lever that goes in here, so you can just take the board out without disturbing the scale. Lovely. Okay, let's see what the speaker's doing. The speaker's being rather open circuit. I can see 120 ohms, and actually if I peer at the circuit diagram, there's a 120 ohm resistor on the output of the amp. So that proves the speaker's connected, and it also proves the speaker is open circuit. So okay, we've got an open circuit speaker. So that's the first problem then. Problem 2 was we're not really getting anything from it. So Interesting how the speaker's actually used as a ground plane, and there's a small coupling capacitor too. There's quite a few coupling capacitors in this, so I think it's probably for a little bit of RF suppression. Nicely designed the way it came out, I must admit. So okay, that's my negative terminal. Right, I think I might disconnect the speaker at this point, and so I can work on it more easily. Unfortunately, one of the speaker posts is missing. The speaker looks like it may have been damp. Also sounds like it's binding anyway. So, never mind. We'll have to see what we can do. If necessary, we'll have to use a little bit of rubber cement to glue the speaker in. That's easily removable, so if it needed changing in the future, that would be okay. Okay, so some other observations I've got. This has got ceramic filter in for the 10.7 FM. Very good. Anyway, I've checked the voltage which goes to the RF stage through this 100 ohm resistor, and it doesn't seem to be drawing excessive current, which is good news. I've noticed some sensitivity on medium wave. So it could be the oscillator's not running for some reason. On FM, I just don't really notice any sensitivity at all. Now, obviously the IFs are shared for both bands, so that might be a good place to look, but I am curious that I'm getting some sensitivity on this medium wave section. It might be worth checking to see if the local oscillator's working. Okay, let's see if we can pick anything up. I don't think that's a local oscillator, I just think that's enhancement from the ferrite rod. There's a lot of crackling. Noisy capacitor, I guess. That's just enhancement. That's all that is. I don't think there's a local oscillator there at all. That's the local that's the IF frequency of 460. So there's some IF operation, it looks like. That's 10.7, which obviously isn't radiated very well, but it sort of tells me that the detectors are both working and are being connected by the switch. So, okay, so that's told me a little bit more. My detectors are working. I've no idea why they've made this a positive ground set, but there we go. But I've just drawn out the converter here, and that's quite confusing. But there isn't enough current going through the collector resistor. When I touch the base, it is sensitive, but as you can see, the voltages look a bit peculiar. I know I'm working backwards here, but that just seems a lot higher than what it should be. The transistor biasing isn't correct, so I'm suspecting I need to look at that resistor there, although that is a 5K6, which seems awfully high. I'm very suspicious of the circuit diagram I've got here, whether it's even right. Well, converter transistor is very, very sensitive, so I think it's working. It's just not biased properly. Well, I know that the local oscillator is not running now. I'm just trying to figure out why. I've redrawn the circuit so I can understand it. I hate having the rail on the common rails positive, but anyway, basically it's very interesting because you've got medium wave, long wave and IF all in the collector. Then you've got some feedback to the base from whichever coil you select, medium or long wave, and then that's in series with the tuning capacitor, it appears. Interesting way of doing it, I've not seen it before. So I'm trying to think, are the voltages wrong around this transistor, so, hence there's not enough to get the oscillation going, or is there something wrong with the feedback circuit so that the converter's not running? Well, as you can see, the gain of the transistor is only coming out as 29. Now, I thought it should be at least 40, so it might be why the biasing is wrong. So I wonder if the transistor has gone low gain. That might be why it's not oscillating. I've gone around all the switches and everything seems to be connected in the medium wave position. The coupling coil is there, so maybe, yep, the biasing voltages are wrong. Right, I've put in a 2N2222 because I had one to hand. Oh.
No, which made sense.
Sounds promising. Let's try long wave.
Press conferences.
Excellent. Okay, so a low gain transistor. I've scuffed it a bit, but legs are very, very dark, aren't they? I'm just listening out for the local oscillator on FM. I'm not getting anything. I'll try a couple of points on the dial because I don't know whether this is an above or below local oscillator, but doesn't seem to be any sign of local oscillator there now. It uses the same type of transistor as it was in the converter, so if one's failed it's possible another one has. I've replaced the converter for FM with a 222A, and it isn't a very good substitute, and it isn't running still, so I'm just looking at the IF stage. That's the second IF stage, and I can clearly hear the tone. And here's the third, well, I say that's the second, this should be the first IF stage, because it's got an extra FM only IF stage ahead of the ceramic filter, and that doesn't seem to be doing a lot on the first one. It's not hearing it at all, so if I've had one transistor faulty, this one, oh, it's sensitive on its collector, or is that its emitter? I can't remember what the case is. So I can hear it on there, but the base of this one doesn't really want to know. Okay, it could be the way the circuit is, but it doesn't sound good. It sounds like things are, it sounds like if you've got one faulty transistor that's gone. When I took this convert one out, it's showing a gain of 29 again. That just seems far too low, but it might just be that this transistor is just not really suitable as an alternative and oscillate. I think it's got a bit more capacitance, so it might not be favourable to oscillating. I read a BF241 is quite similar. So not very sensitive, but at least the local oscillator is now running, so that's good. So it just shows that, you know, the type of transistor you use is very, very critical on FM. I think I'm lucky I got away with the other one in the AM converter, but I have got some BF241s on their way, so I think I'm going to end up replacing quite a few of the transistors. I suspect, looking at the voltage on this first FMIF, that the voltages look low, so I think I've got a problem there as well. Well, I'm just I've got the BF241s now. The IF one for the FMIF I took out, that came out as a gain as 26, so that's not too good. Just a bend of the legs for the BF241 seems to do the job nicely, so that they're in the right order to pop back in. So I'm just going to change all the transistors now, and then it's going to need realigning, I suspect. But yeah, very, very strange this, how the gain of these transistors have all dropped. Okay, I'm just trying to identify everything. I haven't identified everything yet, but I'm getting there. Sort of identifying what are the AM trimmers, which ones are the FM trimmers, FM local oscillator, FM RF, AM RF, AM local oscillator. So I'm beginning to identify where everything is. It's strange that the AM detector's right over here. Funny place for it to be. Anyway, all the transistors have been replaced that are RF or IF. Made sure I've put the ferrite beads in the right place. I haven't looked at the electrolytics yet. Might do a test on them, just see if the ESR is good. I believe it is. It seems to be driving my speaker really quite well. So I think I'm going to do a full alignment. Now, I was told that it is possible these have been tweaked. But I've got all new transistors, so I'm going to have to do an alignment anyway. But it sounds like it's got a good powerful output with my external speaker, so it should sound alright. But yeah, good progress. All the old transistors down here. Some had a gain as low as 23. One come out as 109. I don't believe that for a minute. I think there's something wrong there. But of course, the problem is, a tester only tests them at DC really. So you know, it's not detecting what the performance is at RF. So you know, no telling. But anyway, it's looking all good so far. Even the volume control's good. I haven't put any cleaner in it. Well, the new speaker's in. I only had the one laying around that was 4 ohms, but I managed to get a clamp into that post that's lost part of the post. I've also glued the speaker in, put this bit of rubber back on, whatever that does, so hopefully that isn't going anywhere. Good stuff. Alignment next, I guess. Well, I'm now going to have a bit of fun lining up all the AM trimmers. I decided to capacitively couple it into the converter transistor. It says to connect it to it, but past experience has told me that if you're not careful the way you connect it, you end up detuning things, and I've had cases where I disconnect it and then the IF is off, which is very strange. But it also calls for connecting to the collector of the first IF transistor. I'm not quite sure what I'm supposed to be looking at. Thing is, it's in German. I've tried to convert it, but I've been unlucky, so it's not really made a lot of sense. So I'm just going to go for a conventional maximum smoke out of the speaker type alignment. It's 460 kilohertz on this one. Just looking at the FM alignment, you're supposed to couple in on this capacitor here, but I just decided to just put a loose couple around the RF stage. It's finding its way through. Then you're supposed to build a detector and attach it to the final IF just before the discriminator with a 0.3 picofarad coupling. Yeah, okay. Don't want much then. Through a 10k, a diode and a 10k just to get a DC value off. And then the discriminator with the wobblator, you take off the audio input to the band switch where it goes to the amplifier. Not sure I'm going to go to the length of making a probe unit to probe this. I might think of something else. Well, I've set up for the infamous S-curve. There we go. Imagine that's about as best as I'm going to get. I never was very good at setting this up. I think it's the way my eyes work. I very cleverly didn't explain that's my 10.7 marker, which is a bit berserk, I know. And then it's 200 kilohertz each side. So it looks fairly straight there, doesn't it? Plus or minus 75 kilohertz, so I guess that's going to be about as best it's going to get. Doesn't look like there's a lot wrong with the medium wave and long wave tracking, just a little bit of a twig. There we go. It looks pretty darn accurate at the moment. It's the usual story, just the oscillators at the bottom end, just the ferrite rod position, and then at the high end it's the trimmers. There's some there for long wave as well, so it's nothing that we haven't done before. It's FM I'm expecting to be out a bit, but the tests I've done so far, the radio seems damn sensitive, so I'm pretty pleased with what we've got so far. Calls for the local oscillator to be twigged at 1400, so there we go. Good. Just going to trim the RF at 1400 kilohertz now. I've been told that anything on this could have been twigged, so it's worth definitely a little check to see if we can get things better, which I think we have. Yes, that looks a little bit more sensitive up the top end. Well, to be honest with you, there was hardly any trimming needed for long wave. A little bit of trimming at the high frequency end on the trimmer, just to pull the local oscillator and get the RF. There's a little bit of extra I got there, but not a lot. It's pulling in Radio 4 lovely. So, and Caroline, so I'm quite pleased with that. I guess the FM's the next one. I'm going to just evaluate how far out it is and probably just trim the RF and just pull it into line. I don't think I'm going to have to do a lot, but I don't know. You never know when you start substituting transistors, but so far on medium wave, long wave, I've been quite impressed. It's not far out. When I did the IFs for FM and did the S-curve, I did manage to get, it appears, a good gain of sensitivity. Now I have been told that these could have, anything on this could have been twiddled, so there we go. But so it's best to check, I guess. Well, not too bad on FM at all. I had to twig this inductor to get 87 megs, and then there's another one to adjust for 90 megs, but I didn't really need to touch that much. And then you adjust the two trimmers at 108 and 106, 109, sorry, 106, 109, so they're slightly offset. I can't remember whether it's the local oscillator. I think it was the RF is done at 106 and the local oscillator 109, if I remember rightly. So yeah, it's really sensitive. So it's all looking really good. Just glued this bit of ferrite rod wire back down. I think I'm almost done. I haven't checked it on mains, I must confess. So hopefully it'll work alright on the mains without any problems. Well, that's rather unfortunate. I've been testing it on mains and I thought it was getting a bit warm. So I checked the current to the transformer and found it's 40 milliamps. It's drawing 9 watts, even with the fuse pulled out, which is on the secondary. So unfortunately the transformer, I think, has got a shorted winding. That's very unfortunate. I don't know what I can do about that. Oh. Well, here's the transformer, and it was made on 1978, I guess, 41st week. I was just looking at some plug top transformers of a similar voltage, and they're obviously too big. I was wondering whether I could reuse the laminations, but you also got this problem, it's got 4 extra supports. So that's a bit of a problem. Not quite sure what else I can try at the moment. Damn annoying. I've got a feeling this radio has been very damp, and it's probably got in the windings because we had an open circuit speaker. It's a good job it hasn't actually affected the inductors. But it's going to be very difficult to find a replacement transformer, I feel.
And to change the
new transformer, power consumption less than 2 watts. Right, good stuff. So that wasn't easy finding one that would fit, but it seems to have solved the problem now. So now we've got sensible power consumption. That's the problem really with something old like this. Sometimes wound components can be quite fragile. As the speaker, you can see that it's gone green where it should be coppery. It's gone green. Let's get a close up. There we go. Yeah, that's gone green. Anyway, so that should solve the problem.
go.
Well, there you go. There's the Hit-Boy 310. I really wasn't expecting to find faulty transistors in a radio of this age. I think that was a bit of a surprise for me and probably delayed me because I took a while before I actually checked the transistors, took them out and checked them. But I guess that's down to experience. I think this radio's been damp, the speaker coil being open, and the fact that the copper wires have gone green. And that's probably what's killed the transformer, and it was particularly difficult to find a replacement transformer to go in this radio, and that also comes along with all the issues of you know, finding one the right voltage and the right safety requirement, and then putting it in together and the radio still being safe. It's all a bit of an issue, but there we go. Anyway, so Rob's childhood radio lives again and can play for another day. Don't know if the music's as good as it was in the 70s and 80s now, but there you go. Maybe that's just because I'm old. Anyway, thanks for watching, and hope you found that interesting, and I'll see you soon. Take care. Goodbye.